Welcome back, everybody. And don't just watch the RP show, wear it. Shop at rodpeterson.com. Click on RP store. We got mugs, we got t shirts, hoodies, hats, you name it. Okay, I've been dying all day to get to this guy, Mike Richards. He's not on the Mount Rushmore of Canadian Sports Talk Radio. He is the Mount Rushmore of Canadian Sports Talk Radio. Introducing him to our U.S. audience. Mike, a day like today, I feel like it's made for you.
Well, I don't know what happened, but I just got a text from Megan Fox. She's very upset about something. Why is she calling? Why is she upset? What happened? What's so bad in her world aside from everything?
Don't use my jokes. I want to hear your jokes. William Nylander, NFL, you name it. Go.
Okay, so let's start with that Seahawks Rams game. And if you're a football fan, that was everything you wanted to see. You had the two best teams in that conference, like a UFC fight. They'd already fought each other a couple of times. Then they come out. It's a heavyweight fight. You had, big time game with big time plays, big time players. It is everything that you want to see in a football game. And I couldn't help but think that for all those who were watching it, certainly north of the border here in Canada, did you enjoy it? Like, was that something that you really liked? Because from what I'm seeing, there is so much, again, vitriol about the proposed rule changes. I'm like, they're missing the essence and the point of what football is. You and I are football fans, and that means we're fans of everything. I like high school football, which is why I coached it. I love U sports. I love NCAA sports. The CFL, I've been going to games since 1971. Don't tell me about the CFL. If you saw Angela Mosca and Garney Henley play, because I did, I'm old school in that way. And the bottom line is, I'm a football fan. Football as the game itself. I don't get hung up on the different rules and the slight difference, the nuances between different types of football and different kinds of players and different sizes. The essence of football is exactly what you saw yesterday in Seattle. They are full marks for winning, and for Sam Darnold, who everyone took a giant dump on, especially that horrific decision they made in Minnesota. Too bad. Go to the bank, Minnesota, get a huge loan and buy yourself a clue. What are you doing out there? You're killing your fans. So I'm watching and I'm thinking, okay, CFL fans, I also don't see, when they change the kickoff rules, when they put the convert back to, moving the ball back to the point after attempt. No one in the States was lying in front of a train saying, I'll never get season tickets and I'm finished with this, because it was simply trying to evolve the game. And if that's the evolution, if that's the end result, what we saw in Seattle, as a CFL fan, don't you want that? Don't you want to see that? Shouldn't that be, the Riders and the Argos at some point, or whether it's the Bombers and the Ticats or the Lions? Like, go down the list. If that's the end result that we get, because I remember as a fan going through the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s and throughout, we could always brag about our game being more entertaining than the NFL, the no fun league. That's all I remember as a kid. I never watched a Bills game, hardly ever. Even in the early stages of my career in Toronto, which, by the way, nobody wanted to talk about the CFL. I was the only guy who ever wanted to talk about the CFL because I realized the kind of city it was. And now I look at how that game has evolved. I wouldn't change a thing. I look at the end result of what they have done with their league. And Rod, I'm looking at them saying, okay, they don't have people on a ledge because of a rule change. The best thing about the CFL game are the guys who play it, are the guys who coach it, and the 3 downs and the wide field. And it's not the goalpost. It's not the end zones. It's not the clock. It's not those things, because guess what? After a month of that stuff, it probably won't even matter. You go, oh, that's right. They moved goalposts. I forgot. Oh, that's right. There's no extra point on a missed field goal. All of a sudden, you have evolved the game. Or you can sound like a bunch of crazy crybabies, the same kind of flatland people who probably cried when Christopher Columbus left Spain. They're like, hey, it's flat. The world's flat. Don't you go out there. Don't go changing things. We love it. We love it flat, and no one needs to hear otherwise. Guess
You'll
what?
find out. You'll find out, Chris. It's flat.
Yeah.
Sorry. Keep
evolve the thing. Evolve it. Yeah, don't listen to Kyrie Irving. He probably has a different opinion than probably what I just said. Yeah, nice going, Duke. I'm sure the geography department's really thrilled with that one. Yeah, the world's flat. I'm sorry. Oh, God, why does he have to talk like that? Aren't we an educational institution?
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
Hang
Rod,
on.
that for the love of God, this is the kind of football that we love. You saw it as a kid. You saw when you're doing stuff with all those years with the Riders. This is what we want to have. So let's get to that point. Let's get to that place. Let's get the game relevant for someone under the age of, I don't know, 60. Let's try to make this thing better, not take away. Not take away, folks. I mean, trust me, there's a whole world out there, and it's not flat. Congratulations, NFL.
Well, yeah, it was a fantastic Sunday of football. And so you had the Seattle game played in perfect conditions, a tremendous game, and the right team won. Hey, Sam Darnold, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I didn't buy that he
yeah,
was hurt. Go ahead.
yeah. No, I agree. Now the previous game, I knew was going to be a little challenging, but again, if you like football, this is a completely different kind of game. This is a story where you had Bo Nix, which, by the way, Minnesota. How'd you miss that one? How'd you go right by that to J.J. McCarthy? Ow! I just picked up a piece of chocolate. I hurt myself. What are you doing in Minnesota? Well, there's a lot of things going on in Minnesota, but let's stick with the football part right now. I really don't understand. A lot of people thought that I'm a Bo Nix guy, saw all his games. I'm a Duck fan, and I was thrilled with what he has done. But in the kind of football game that was going to be played, we knew it would be a rock fight. I mean, you knew that's what was going to happen. So the drop off from Bo Nix to Stidham wasn't that big. Like, people were ready to just throw it away and say, well, you get rid of your starter. What are you going to do? They won most of their games playing a rock fight, letting their defense do what they do, which means that front seven, especially that front four, those rush ends, they hunt quarterbacks. That's what they do. They make life difficult. Your Mile High Stadium, you got your center back who's been hurt most of the year. They're going to pound the rock. So Bo Nix wasn't a gunslinger. At least currently he's not. He can, but at this point of his professional evolution, he's not a gunslinger. You lose Josh Allen. You lose Patrick Mahomes. You lose Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford. Your teams are through. You are finished. But that's not what Denver did. So, ironically, Rod, this is what I really think happened. Aside from the weather, and it is what it is. It's Denver, whatever. To me, it was a little bit of coaching. And the thing that I love about Sean Payton, he's pretty transparent for a guy at that level. After the game, he said, I'm going to look at the film. I'm going to be critical, but it's mostly going to be my play calling. It's mostly going to be on me. And you know what? He's right. There were times, not that I thought that going for it was the bad decision. I'm always about being aggressive. But I think that that you hold that team in your hand from the sidelines in a game like that, and they just couldn't, they couldn't get it done. You maybe called a play when you had to have 4th and 1. Called a timeout. Maybe you didn't need the timeout because they get to talk to their coaches too. So at that point, I mean, we're talking about the minutia of how games like that, in weather like that, turn out. And if you make the right call, you look like a hero going for it. But otherwise,
I'm interrupting this freight train for 1 second because the audience wants to chime in. Matthew DeBuck, 3-time Florida State high school football champions watching in Fort Lauderdale. He writes in, he says, this guy is completely on point. Oh, yeah. In my bag of tricks, Mike's right at the top. He's right at the top of my bag of tricks. Mike Richards. The Americans are liking you, Mike, as are the Canadians. Vancouver Eric writes in, he goes, real football talk. Richards for commissioner. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Denver gets full marks for the effort. Okay, so you watched the game like I watched the game. Tony Romo had me believing before the game that Jarrett Stidham was going to lead the upset. He said, this guy, don't overlook him. He's ready. He's prepared. And it was all great until he fumbled inside his 15-yard line. Patriots put it in. And then it started to snow, and he looked like two monkeys trying to hump a football. Like, that was the turning point.
Yeah, the turning point was the weather and the fact when you don't get the kinds of reps that you need to be in a big-time game, and he certainly hasn't seen them in almost years. I mean, I did think in the beginning, like, boy, he comes out that corner route that he throws to Cortland Sutton was just a beauty. He has on a bootleg rolling it out. I'm like, these are all the kinds of things that you want to see. But if you don't get a chance to do it consistently, it's really hard to come into an atmosphere where everything's on the line, including. Now, a lot of people forget, like coming out of Auburn, it wasn't like he was the next thing because he wasn't. But he ran into a really weird series of events that happened to some guys when they turned pro. He goes to New England, which when Tom Brady's your quarterback, probably not a dream come true. You're going to sit there, you got to wait that thing out. And just as Tom's leaving, Then COVID comes in, which was weird for the entire planet. I'm not talking just football here, folks. That just it completely turns it upside down. They bring in Cam Newton, which probably was a disastrous decision, and then he goes to the Raiders. He gets hurt. Like it's been a long time for him to just get this opportunity. You're asking a lot of this guy. And look, if the weather doesn't, if it doesn't snow, does it turn out differently? I guess it is possible because the field goals change. But again, it's the football gods. It's why we watch the game. I really think that New England is full marks for getting to a Super Bowl. Vrabel, woo, what a job he did with that team this year. But I can't help but feel that that magnificent team that you see in Seattle and Jackson Smith and Jigba is just the full price of admission.
He's
I mean,
legit.
him and oh my God, I can't see Seattle losing this game, but we'll see. What does Vrabel come up with? I don't know if he can do enough to cover those guys, but you know what? I'm watching this league. I'm enjoying the product, and to me, thank you. I will take that every time. I really will.
It's like you have ESPN. You know what I'm thinking. You already know. I got Seattle picked to win the Super Bowl too, and I don't think it'll be close. But just to walk it back for a sec, Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes in. He says, I thought Alex Singleton played well and really thought they were going to win, but bad decisions on the field and off. Singleton was out there almost every down. My God, if you don't love the way he loves football, you don't have a heart. And he's just great. Number 49, Bronco linebacker, former Canadian Football League most outstanding player. But listen, let's just talk about the Patriots before we move on to William Nylander and the most famous finger in Canada right now. Just hang on. The Vrabel story, hey, our governor here, Ron DeSantis, said just this morning, he said America will be cheering for the Patriots and Seattle will be cheering for the Seahawks. That's what Ron DeSantis said. Just throwing that in there, the governor of Florida. Everybody's got an opinion, Mike, but everybody loves Mike Vrabel and the Patriots.
Yeah, well, again, and this is, again, really old school stuff. The way that they want to play it. Stevenson and Trevion Henderson. I mean, these are old school kind of running backs in the way in which they run. I mean, they're just going into that hole and they're going to try to knock you down. But the thing that I really enjoy, I love when a collegiate player comes in and does exactly what he has hoped that he was going to do. Not necessarily the organization, which of course New England did. They picked the right guy. And coming out of a Duke, they look at a guy that has some qualities that, people, they use the adjectives, oh, he's another Josh Allen. Oh, he's not Josh Allen, but I get what you like. To me, the term I always like to use is a stud quarterback. Do you have a stud quarterback? That means when you go to the huddle, you look into that guy's face and you're going to listen to every single thing he says, and whatever he says, you believe because he will do it. His running yesterday was just such great football IQ. So yeah, Vrabel has put all these pieces together, and this is a team that's not going away. Like, I mean, and we're looking at a team where, is your number one Stephon Diggs? Well, if that's true, then you can find better guys. You can find receivers in this league. You can find it. So can they get better? I think New England can get better. So this line in the sand that they've drawn, and the fact that they're going to a Super Bowl where I'm hoping it's not a blowout, but they face a real juggernaut in Seattle. But if this is a stepping stone and a learning issue for this as a franchise, people say, well, there's no style points. It depends on what you're talking about here. If you can go in and learn something from maybe getting your ass kicked in the Super Bowl, or at least trying to keep it respectable, I like New England the following year because they're going to find guys. This is a franchise that does find guys, and so I'll be really curious to what happens next year.
Just looked it up. Seahawks favored by 4.5 in Super Bowl 60. Ooh. In San Fran. Okay. Arlen Bruce is watching. He writes in and he says, Cardi B or Taylor Swift? LOL. I don't even know who Cardi B is other than she's Stephon Diggs' girlfriend, right? But he had 4 kids in the last year. I saw it on the internet. Stephon Diggs had 4 kids last year. It's on the internet. It's got to be true. And Taylor Swift, not my type, but Cardi B or Taylor Swift? Arlen Bruce wants to know. Do you have an answer for that, Mike Richards?
No, I
okay. Yeah, me either.
This is, unless you're going back to Stephon Diggs, that love boat that he had. Was she on there when he was handing out
I'm guessing she was.
Candy or whatever that was? Okay.
Now, listen, this is how I'm coming to grips with my age. I was scrambling for a name and Megan Fox pops. I was going to say Lonnie Anderson. I'm not sure she's even still
Wow.
alive. I had to
I
come up
don't
with
think she
somebody
is.
relevant. Yeah, so there you go. That would be weird.
Nothing
Okay.
nothing says you're getting older like saying you had a crush on a dead girl. You know?
William Nylander, the poll question
Yeah.
today. Should he be disciplined for giving the bird to the Sportsnet camera on Sunday?
Well, the answer is no. I mean, I just, now if we start looking at hand gestures from professional athletes in sports when they're not playing, I just think yeah, is it juvenile? But see, this is the state of the Toronto Maple Leafs at this very moment. I mean, this is the thing you're dealing with. This is the kind of stuff that you have to talk about. I mean, the season can't be over fast enough. And for a guy that, I'll be honest, when he was drafted, that draft night when I saw him and his family, he was there with his sisters and stuff. I didn't know which one the guy was. I'm looking at all these blonde-haired people. I'm like, well, which one's the boy? I don't know which guy this is. And then when he gets drafted, I'm like, he looks like the brother of remember the Bad King in Game of Thrones? The blonde-haired kid that everybody
Yeah.
hated, that young kid. Kind of
There's a meme
kind of
of
look like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of look like that. And at first I'm like, well, the guy's not big enough. I don't think he's going to show any grit. Like I didn't know enough. Obviously, they were, because where the kid came from. And then there was a part during this tenure in this last 8 or plus years where it's very weird. There was times where he was one of the better players, which I couldn't believe that I was saying. But I'm going back. I really started to get a lot of respect for this guy. But they're caught into the web that has made them. That was from almost the very beginning. I've talked about when they stripped this thing down, because I was there. I was on TSN when the whole tanking comes on and Badcock comes in there and their first initial stages, and then they get Austin Matthews. It looked really, really on point. But then there's that weird. There was a tipping point where they started basically just duplicating what they already had. The things that you need to be successful in the league. Look at the teams that win Stanley Cups. They have that profile of the 9 kind of guys you need to win a championship. So you look at the Leafs and you go, okay, I get it. If the Leafs are an automobile factory, all they're doing is making like Fieros. Like they're making a lot of sports cars, and it's fun in the summertime, and the top's down, and then the snow comes, which in our case in this league, that means the playoffs come. And guess what? SUVs move in there. They can also move fast. They got a big chassis. They just push you off the road. The rain doesn't, snow doesn't bug them. They can also drive fast. They can stop on a dime. You have the wrong chassis. How can you not see this? In fact, I talked to Dave Randorf, who you might know, Tampa Bay Lightning TV guy, play-by-play voice. We actually went to Ryerson together. Well, he finished the program and wrote all the exams. I went 1 year and wrote my last exam in fake Chinese. So
Right.
there's the difference. So he's on, and he's talking about just the incredible job in the state of Florida with what they have done professionally with those hockey teams. Because growing up as a kid, I wouldn't have seen it. But look at this. It really is quite remarkable. And it's that continuity you have from ownership that filters all the way down. And when I take a look at how the Leafs are run, well, how can that even be? Being, just sort of a shareholders, and you just look at it and go, okay, well, you're not going to win. You're just not going to win. And guess what? When you have that lack of respect, you know what you get? The finger.
Thanks, Mike. I need a couple hours with this guy. I'll get to the comments when we come back, everybody. The inimitable Mike Richards. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.